This video is powered by Dr. Cinik, one of the world's leading hair transplant centres and a top choice among football superstars. Scan the QR code on the screen or click the link below for your free consultation. I'm even thinking about getting it done myself.
I'm here with Frank, and he's got that beaming smile all over his face, and I know what he's going to do now. Go on, get it out your system.
Can you smell it?
I think I can smell it, yeah. Victory, yeah?
It's that victory smell.
Yeah.
It's even sweeter today. I am over the moon, Laurie. I know the performance wasn't fantastic, but in derby games, form goes out the window. It doesn't matter how you perform. All that matters is you get the 3 points. And we've got the 3 points again, 3 years in a row at 3-point lane. I'm over the moon.
I can see that. And to be fair, going into this game, I'd spoken to you off camera, and we both had some reservations today. Obviously, we're going into this game with two of our best players, namely the captain, Martin Odegaard, and Declan Rice. And I said to you, and to some extent you agreed with me, that midfield was potentially decimated.
Yes.
So to come to Tottenham today and get not just the 3 points, but a clean sheet was an excellent performance, even though the actual performance, I'm sure you would agree with me, wasn't our best.
I genuinely believe the performance was awful, but we'll go that back.
You can say that now, can't you?
I can say that now that I know we've won, but I really wasn't impressed with the performance today. But like I said, all that matters is that we get the result. And like I think I said it on stream as well, in years gone by, we don't win a game like that. We don't draw a game like Brighton, but we've got to that level, and this is what I keep saying about sign of champions, winning when you're not performing at your best and getting that point when you're not playing at your best and you would normally lose or draw a game like that. And it just shows how far we have come as a team, even when we're not playing our best at all.
Yeah, you make a very interesting point there. And you know what? Let's do this interview slightly different. Let's get the negatives out the way, and then we'll do the positives later. So you've said that it wasn't a very good performance, to keep it mild. Why was that, in your opinion?
I think, I can go through one by one in terms of who I don't think was particularly fantastic today. I think a majority of that back line was great. Timber, for me, I'm sticking with it. I think he was my man of the match, even though Gabriel got the goal and was also solid. Saliba was solid again today. And bearing in mind, he played 75 minutes of that game on a yellow card. And that's a whole different conversation about why he got that yellow card. I think the only shaky one was Ben White, but I understand at the same time he wasn't just dealing with any winger, he was dealing with Heung-min Son. And that's going to be a challenge for anyone. No, it doesn't matter if it's prime Cafu. Son's going to cause a problem for any fullback in the world. I think that midfield three as a whole, it wasn't where it needed to be, but that was to be expected. I didn't expect us to be fantastic in midfield today. Obviously, we said it on stream again. When a team loses their captain and their most expensive player of all time, it's going to have an effect. And I really wanted to see a lot more from Thomas Partey because of that. Obviously, him being somewhat the senior player in the Arsenal team, he's been there for the longest in that midfield, and I just don't think we saw that enough, unfortunately. Even with Jorginho, a little bit sloppy at times.
Although Jorginho's quite senior as well, some people.
No, of course, but
maybe not for us. I hear what you're saying.
What I was saying, for Arsenal, Thomas Partey's been here for 4 years now, or something like that. Jorginho's only come in the last 2 years. Yes, he got the captain's armband, but my point is, I expect to see a little bit more from Thomas Partey, and I'm hoping that we can see that in the games against Atalanta, in the games against Manchester City that are coming up. And then you move up to the front three. I don't think Saka was great today, but at the same time, I understand that he didn't get the level of service that he needed today. He barely even touched the ball, I believe, and still got an assist. So it just shows the levels at which we're playing at now. Players are not even touching the ball and they're still getting assists. I'm happy.
Do you think part of why the performance wasn't that enthralling was because, let's be honest, we're always going to have to play a slightly different game today, especially with Odegaard and Declan Rice, such dynamic, athletic players for Arsenal. They've been out. It was almost incumbent upon us to let Tottenham have more of the ball, which they did. So we're not going to be at our usual attacking, possession-based type of football. So do you think that had a significant effect on how the game went today?
Possibly, but I was obviously of the belief, I said it before the game started, I genuinely believed that we needed to be on the attack. Obviously, in hindsight, the way we played got us the win, and I understand why we played the way we do at the same time. Obviously, no matter what the situation is, Tottenham are always going to play that high line. Andrew said that himself. No matter if they lose 4 or 5-0, he's always going to play that way. And I think we've been smart in that sense to, absorb the pressure, because they put us under a lot of pressure at times during the game. I think pretty much for that entire first half, it was essentially all Spurs.
Although, you know what, you say that, but I got the impression, correct me if I'm wrong, that Spurs weren't as flamboyant and as gung-ho as they normally are. I think that they respected us a lot on the counter. I don't think they went for it as much as they would have done with other teams.
I disagree with that slightly. I think they tried, but we was too good for them in terms of our defensive ability. Like every time one of their strikers got the ball, Gabriel was on them, Timber was on them, Saliba was on them. Not so much Ben White, but I feel like we sort of nullified that a lot more than than other teams would. So I think we can give ourselves some credit in that sense, that we didn't allow Tottenham to play that way, essentially.
Okay, so negatives out the way, so-called negatives. Positives today.
Yep.
Who stood out for you?
I think I said it previously. I think Timber, for me, man of the match. Bearing in mind, we've gone into the season not really knowing who our first choice left back was going to be. Was it going to be Zinchenko? Was it going to be Calafiori? Was it going to be Timber? And I think Yuri and Timber is really making a case for it to be him. Like, he was near perfect today. There was a few situations where I think he gave the ball away a couple of times. I think he got turned once or twice by Brennan Johnson. But overall, he was solid. And like, if he's going to continue to play like this, then, Zinchenko doesn't really stand a chance. Calafiori is going to struggle to get into this team, and we're still yet to see him make a start. I don't see it being anytime soon if Yuri and Timber is going to continue to play this way. So I want to give full credit to Yuri and Timber. Gabriel and Saliba goes without saying. Best centre-back partnership in the world, and I'm actually now leaning more towards one of them just on their own being the best centre-back in the world. Probably more towards Saliba, but Gabriel needs to be given his props.
You got Gabriel that high, yeah?
Not quite that. I'd probably say at this point that we've got the best centre-back in the world with William Saliba, but Gabriel absolutely, as an individual, is now getting to that point. And then one that I don't feel like a lot of people will say, and I'll say it, I was actually quite impressed with Gabriel Martinelli's performance today, in the sense that he's had a really tough time to start off this season. He had a really tough time last season as well. But, I think he caused a lot of threat down that left-hand side. He was really giving Pedro Porro a hard time. And we haven't seen that from him in a long time. And yes, whilst he didn't get his goal, whilst he didn't get his assist, I think that the positive performance that we saw from him today will help to boost his confidence even a little bit. And I think it's only a matter of time before he gets that goal or assist soon enough.
Okay, fine. So obviously today was the first of 3 big games in a week. Had the day against Tottenham. We got Atalanta in the week on Thursday in the Champions League, and of course another massive game next week. Off the back of this win, I've got to ask you, how encouraged are you playing City next week now?
Well, this is what I'm saying. Whilst I don't believe that the performance was fantastic today, as I did say it was awful, but the point that I keep trying to make is, even when we're not playing well, we're getting results, and that fills me with confidence. Because I think we had a similar situation last year. I don't think that we particularly played well against Manchester City when we beat them at home, but we carved out the victory one way or another, and I'm starting to see a pattern of this now, and it fills me with confidence going into the game against City. Obviously, we got the game against Atlanta first. And this is a whole different topic in itself. The fixture list has not been kind to us. 3 away fixtures in a row. Obviously, the City game and the Atlanta game are really close together as well. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles the squad in terms of, obviously, we've still got loads of injuries. Thankfully, Declan Rice will be back for the Manchester City game, and I fully expect him to slot straight back into that game. So we'll see how it goes. But early signs is that it's going to be a positive time for us, absolutely.
And we saw Saka come off. It looked like he was holding his quad. But then at the end of the game, we saw Saka. He seemed to be laughing and joking, and he looked a lot more upbeat. Are you worried about that? Or we don't really know what's what yet, but hopefully he should be fit for Thursday. If not Thursday, then definitely next Sunday.
No, absolutely. And if it didn't look to be anything concerning. Like, he was on his feet after the game. It's not like he had crutches on or anything. He was celebrating with the team. So I don't think we've got anything to be concerned about there. But if there is even the slightest a bit of concern, then maybe we don't risk him against Atalanta. It's not like in previous years where it's been a situation of, we've only got Saka on that right-hand side. We now have options. We can put Trossard out there if we need to. We've got Raheem Sterling now. We've got options to do that. Jesus can go out there. So if there is any concern, rest him against Atalanta, because he is going to be crucial in that game against Manchester City.
And just finally, to wrap up, as you mentioned the game against City, would you like to see any changes in the line? We know that Declan Rice will come in. So one of those midfield three that play today are probably going to have to drop out. So who do you like to see come in there? Are there any other changes that you'd like to see for the City game?
It's more of a case of what changes can you make at this stage, because if we've got so many injuries, and obviously, like you said, Declan Rice will come back in. I think it's more a case of who comes out, and for me, it probably would be Thomas Partey. I was a lot more confident about Jorginho's performance today than I was with Thomas Partey's, and maybe it's a situation where Thomas Partey needs that kick up the backside in a little bit. You know, like, you're not safe. Obviously, Mourinho's out for the next couple of months, but he shouldn't feel comfortable enough in his performances so far to think, yeah, I'm in the team. So maybe he does need that kick up the backside against Manchester City. Start Jorginho, bring Rice back in, and then obviously we'll go from there.
And Raheem Sterling, we got our first little look at him today. Wasn't long, but what do you reckon to him?
I expect Sterling to start against Atalanta, just so he gets that, that starting chance. And then from there, you can evaluate the two performances, the one that you saw from Gabriel Martinelli today, whatever Sterling does against Atalanta, and then you can make your decision based off of what he's seen.
Okay, Frank, thank you very much, and we keep it rolling to next week.